Hello and welcome to my review of the Pyramid A5 Android box. This is a new box that I have in. I haven't done an Android box review for a while, so I thought I would give you a quick overview on this particular model. Very much aimed in the budget section, and you get a very standard included bundle with this, a remote, power supply and HDMI lead. Now if you're moving into the remote a bit closer, this is a customized remote, bigger buttons on this, and it feels better quality than many of the entry-level Android boxes that I've used. It has most of the functions that you need, and a digital mouse on this particular model. Takes 2 times AAA batteries. These are my own ones, you don't get any included in the pack. Moving into the box design, we have sharper edges on the side with a combination of matte and brushed metal effect on the top. Moving on the connectors on the side, we have the SD and 3 USB ports, and then onto the back section we have the HDMI output, another USB port, digital and AV outputs, as well as the Ethernet and power connector, and the other side is blank. On the bottom we have the 4 rubber pads, and you'll see ventilation slots here. Closer look at the spec. They've actually made a mistake here. They've got their CPU as S905 octa-core. That's the GPU is an octa-core, not the CPU. 1 gig and 8 gig, very much standard for an entry level with single band Wi-Fi. Key features on this part, and the remote control gives you an overview. The instructions are actually pretty good on this, better than most of the boxes I've seen, although anybody that's used a box will be familiar with it. Booting it up, they have their own customized graphics and menus, and you'll see on the right hand side a light that moves up, just showing you that it's still booting. Now we've gone into the main menu here. Again, a different look. They've gone for a completely different style and design. You have the 5 main settings here at the bottom, including a cleaner, Kodi, access to the apps, settings and a browser, and you have 8 slots above that which you can customize yourself. So you can go in and use the context menu on the remote and change those around or remove them. What I'm doing here is just showing you some combinations that you can use here. 8 is probably enough. I think that's probably sufficient for most users for that particular menu system. I quite like the look. The important point to note is there isn't a menu bar, a navigation bar at the bottom, and that's not possible to activate one either, so you're really reliant on the remote for this to get back to the home screen. Also note in the top left hand corner you have indicators for Wi-Fi and media cards and USB. Going into the apps section, again slightly different. They've got their own sort of background layout, and you can use the context menu on this to either clear app data or to directly uninstall. I think it works quite well. I like the look and the interface on this. I just wish that you had that navigation bar at the bottom, or an option to have it to bring it up, because otherwise you have to use the remote. For example, if you're using a touchpad, you're going to have to go back to the remote to get back to the home screen, which is a bit disappointing. It's perhaps one of the points worth mentioning though. Once you go into the settings, it's very much stock Android 5.1. You'll see here I've got around about 4.4 gigabyte spare storage. I've installed a few apps, so you get slightly more than that out of the box. This did come with a fair few apps installed, although I wouldn't say it was too excessive. It's pre-routed too, so you don't need to worry about that, and you do have Bluetooth, which is an important difference from some of the entry boxes such as the MXQ, and most of them don't have that. Kodi is running 16.1 Jarvis, and this particular one is loaded up with quite a few streams. Now some people have different views on this. I don't mind it myself. A lot of people want a box that has a lot of streams already preloaded. If you don't want anything, you can go out and remove those or change the add-ons. Some people perhaps don't really understand how to use the Android box as much, so for new users it's something which is probably useful to have. As far as I'm aware, in most countries it's legal to have these streaming at the moment. What I've done now is just to run a basic benchmark test on Geekbench. This is version number 4, just to give you an idea of the performance, and it's very much in line with this chipset 1549 multi-core. It's a common chipset, and that's pretty much what you get on a budget entry-level Android phone or around about that. This is just quickly a 3D benchmark that I decided to run. Gives you an idea of the gaming performance, though it's not really aimed at gamers. This particular box will do a reasonable job on most games. Overall, it's quite a nice box, and I like the inclusion of Bluetooth, and the performance was pretty much as expected. It did quite a decent job, and it can stream 4K. No problems with Wi-Fi or playback to report. The only thing I would say is the navigation bar at the bottom is something that I would have liked, and that's possibly the only real drawback, though you could use your own launcher for this.